أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفيعنا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه أهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفيعنا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه أهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفيعنا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه وأهل بيته وبارك وسلم. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. Today we are going to cover a very important topic, which is who am I, rather what am I. The topic is discussing the spiritual aspect of the human being and how to go about in the spiritual journey to deeply understand one's own self and one's own reality. This reality has to be understood by every human being so that he can worship Allah and know Him. We'll go through this journey. It will take us a couple of hours or so, inshallah. I'll try to be quick and go through all the slides, inshallah. Just want to give the context of this talk. It is a Sufi perspective of one's own self discovery, and the discussion is definitely, want to say ahead of this talk, is beyond the Shariat level, and it's an open discussion and bold attempt to understand oneself. The knowledge or the ilm which is discussed here is mostly at the tariqat, haqiqat and marifat level, and if a person who is listening to this talk is at the shariat level, and if he wants to know more, it's an attempt to expose the listener to higher levels of Islamic spirituality, and again to self-explore oneself. The Sufi perspective of self-discovery is one of the most immense and the deeply satisfying experience that a human being will get once he starts realizing his own self. It is even though the topics discovered or discussed here, or the presentations, the real satisfaction actually comes when one starts the journey and start going deeper within his or her own self. What we are going to cover in the few presentations and slides is a way or a strategy to go about the journey, and which will help the seeker to achieve his or her goal much quicker. So that's the main focus of this presentation, and the more one goes deeper and uses his life on this earth to seek this goal, the more Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will bless that person. Just wanted to put a quote here. It says, "Success comes to one once we are ready to experience failure." The reason why I wanted to put it here is because we all have professions and goals that we follow in our life. The spiritual quest to know one's own self is the most difficult one. If you're an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, or entrepreneur, everything in life takes effort. But to know one's own self, the journey into one's own self is one of the most difficult journeys. And we will talk about that in the few slides. Just to give the seeker a perspective of what this journey is about, and how to go about to achieve that goal. Okay. Again, the failure teaches us what success cannot and beyond. Because when one in any pursuit, whether it's an examination or anything in life, it's marriage or any aspect of life. When one fails, that's when one starts digging deeper. When somebody succeeds, definitely success is sweet. It is energizing, and it builds confidence. But failure is also extremely important in life. If you look at the first 13 years of the persecution of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahabas, they went through a lot of failures, but everything was a stepping stone to success. So definitely, the failure teaches a human being much more than success teaches. I wanted to quote Kashful Majub, which is written by Data Ganjbakhsh radiallahu anhu. It's one of the oldest Persian texts of Sufism. And going back to our spiritual discussion, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was asked, what is ilm marifat? And Imam Shibli quoted this Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu saying that the real marifat is the inability to attain marifat. And it's one of the most profound sayings which you will come across in Islamic spirituality. Again, the real marifat is the inability to attain marifat. And what does that mean? It means that if somebody starts to get into this journey, and what does marifat mean? Marifat means the ilm which belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have the shariat, you have tariqat, you have haqiqat, and you have marifat. Marifat is when you start communing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get ilham directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this is a very deep spiritual experience that a salik or a seeker goes through when he gets to that level in Islamic spirituality. And why I'm putting this slide here, is to give the seeker or to align him or her of how to attain marifat, and to put it right in the beginning. So the realization, according to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the realization, that one cannot attain marifat, which is the knowledge which belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, using one's mental ability, the five senses that we have, or from experiences that we have learned in this world. So what happens is, when a person is in this path, he is going through his self-realization process. He is going through the Sharia, then he goes into tariqat, he makes bay'ah with the sheikh, he starts getting tarbiyat from the sheikh, and then he goes into haqiqat, and then into higher levels of marifat. A day comes when the seeker realizes that I'm trying to get to the higher level and I'm not able to get there. And it could take, a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, maybe years together. Maybe a lifetime is not enough. But once the seeker realizes, the secret is you cannot attain marifat using one's mental ability, five senses, or what you learn from this world. And it has to be bestowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the blessings of Panjatan Pak, which is Fatima, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, and the two children, Imam Hassan Hussein, Shawab Ayla Jannah radiallahu anhu. Now, once you get to that conclusion, and you surrender at that point. And so that's when the human facilities depart. What does that mean? I have given up and I cannot do it. But at that point, that's when Allah's mercy, the rahmah, engulfs the seeker. And that is when the inhalation happens of all the human attributes. And it is not inability to attain it, but Allah wants the seeker to succeed in his infinite rahmah, where he says, I love you 70 times more than your own mother loves you, and then he bestows you the marifat. And marifat is when you are so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all the secrets of the universe is is given to you, and you have so much deeper understanding of why things are happening around the world, why something is happening in my life, why this has happened to me, why is there sorrow in the life, why is there so much of hardships, and all those questions are answered by the heart which is bestowed with the ilm of marifat. So the goal of this talk is again for the salik or the seeker to attain the level of marifat. Why is it important that I know myself? And again we go back to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. That the person who has understood or realized the reality of his own self has understood his Rabb. So we come to again the important discussion that where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the purpose of my creation. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created the jinn or mankind except to worship me. So if how can I worship a creator whom I don't know? Maybe I have read about him in the books, but I have not experienced him. How the easier way to make a person understand is say a child is born as an orphan, and say his mother passed away when during his birth. Now you could never ask this child, how do you feel to be close to your mother, or how do you feel when you think about your mother, she took care of you when you were infant or a child, how much you loved and cared for you. He would never know. He would be born in somewhere, and maybe he's in an orphanage. So versus somebody who has been bestowed the mercy of a mother, and she has taken care of the child, and when the child grows up to be a young man, you could ask, how do you feel, how your mother took care of you, and he will have all these experiences coming to him, and he will say, oh, my mother is so beautiful, and she really took care of me, and that is the reason I'm such a nice individual today. So those experiences of being with your mother, experiencing her love and shelter and comfort, her rahma towards you, is what defines you who is a mother. Similarly, I need to experience my Rabb much more deeper level to really start worshipping my Rabb out of love. And that is the most highest form of worship. The reason why Allah created the entire universe is because of love. He said, I was a hidden treasure and I wanted to be known for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for how much He cares for His creation. So it's a journey of self-realization, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has put it in a profound way, saying that man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu, that a person who has realized his own self, only then he has understood his Rabb. So the challenge here, for most of the people, if you look about, in any religion which is more outward, whether it is Islam, Christianity, or Judaism, Hinduism, unless you go deeper into your own self and you start experiencing spirituality, if you look at the scriptures itself, whether it is the Quran or the Upanishad, the Vedas, or the Bible, or the Torah, or any of the Psalms, it will have a lot of literal interpretations. And if you try to discover or go deeper to understand your Rabb with this literal interpretations, it will be very dry and mundane. Rather, this journey is a very beautiful and fulfilling experience, because every day in this journey, when you're trying to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says in a beautiful hadith, you walk towards me, I run towards you. You take one step towards me, I take 10 steps towards you. And this is what happens, brothers and sisters. It is the sincerity and deep conviction of the journey. The rest is everything that Allah bestows on that individual, the seeker, based on how much he really wants it, how much he really wants to know his Rabb and to know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah. So let's go and try to go through the slides. First, a few slides are talking about who am I, and it's going to explore, different aspects of human psychology. It's very important to understand human psychology, because unless you understand human psychology, you will not be able to understand your own self, and then how to handle your own self. This is very important. The journey is very deep. So unless I know my own self, I won't be able to conduct myself in the right way to achieve my goal. So let's go about quickly and go through the slide. Who am I? Analyze my own self. Am I a bundle of thoughts? People have, our brain is full of activity, and we are bombarded with hundreds and thousands of thoughts per second. Is that me? Am I a bundle of actions? People who, when we have thoughts, then some of the thoughts translate into actions. So if you have positive thoughts, it gives you, results in positive actions. Positive emotions, negative emotions. Am I a bundle of positive and negative emotions? Am I a bundle of experiences in my life that I have to deal with human beings, society, and interactions with human beings, based on, whatever my level is in my society? What about culture? Culture, if I'm born in Europe, if I'm born in America, born in India, born in Middle East, the place, the religion, the era. If you're born, in 1000 BC, you're born, 10 BC, you're born in, 1000 AD, you're born in 2000 AD. So different eras, so different experiences. Much more deeper within an individual, the desires the individual has, the goals that person has. The goals takes the youngster into a profession where he leads his life, earns a living. The habits of an individual, and it could be good habits, bad habits, and habits, when it continues for a longer time, it leads to tendencies. And the last bullet point here is consequences of one's intentions and actions. And I would use the word karma. Again, it comes from the Upanishad philosophy, but karma is a beautiful word. I always feel it's very complete. It's the past and the present and future, of your actions. What dictates. In hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it says innamal a'malu binniyah. So Allah actually looks at the niyat behind the actions. So all this also governs the experiences and the interactions, which talks about the way I deal my life, how I go about leading a life, whether it's a life which is a blessed life, or it's a life which I have not attained my full potential, because Allah has put in all human beings the potential to get to ilm marfat, to the highest level of spirituality, but maybe the person's focus was not correct in the life. Okay. Again, we go about trying to understand my own self. Again, the essence, every individual, myself included, I have this I-ness within myself, the I, which defines myself. Is it my consciousness, my existence? I'm so much years old, I've lived life in this part of the world or that part of the world, my existence. The being whom I identify as myself, the journey of self-discovery and self-realization. Most of the people, when they become more spiritual, they start contemplating on the Creator, Allah. They look at the creation. Definitely the Quran talks about creation. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the nur which engulfs the earth and the heavens. You look up in the night sky, you look at the millions of stars the naked eye can see. You take a telescope and you look further into the millions of galaxies that the night sky lights up. So in the creation, when you look at the creation at a mega level, then you look into the microscope, into the atoms, to the cells, and then you see the vast creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That also gives you a certain aspect of trying to reflect on the azmat, on the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, the relation between all three, that is the my own self, the creation of Allah, and Allah himself, the Zat of Allah. So all this put together also does take individual to a more surface, not to a deeper level. The deeper level of coming close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is when you start going within your own self. Baba Muhyiddin, my Shaykh, he says that there is nothing out in this world for you to realize your Rabb. The journey is within your own self. He talks about the 18,000 universes that Allah has created. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alameen, Allah says in Surah Fatiha. All the universes. He does not say Alam. Alameen. And Baba says all the 18,000 universes that Allah has created is within your own self. And when you realize that, and when you discard those 18,000 universes, what remains is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we'll go through this deeper. Let's examine the three states of a human body and a mind, and hence life on this earth. So any person who is born on this earth, he will go through these three states. So if you look at the 24/7 life of any individual on the earth, he has three states. The first state is the wake state. The second is sleep state, and the third is deep sleep state. Now we'll go through this in detail in the slides coming ahead of us. The wake state definitely is when we are awake. You got up from your sleep in the morning, and you did your prayers, you had your cup of tea or coffee, and here you go, your mind is awake now, active. So thoughts come in, oh, I have to go to school, I have to go to work, or you have your duties that is laid out for throughout your day for every human being. Your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, your emotions, again positive, negative, your experiences with people, with your own siblings, with your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, interactions, your desires. I like coffee, I like tea, I like chocolate. You go for those desires. Your habits, some people have good habits, some have bad habits. Tendencies, field of study, career, profession, goals, your likes and dislikes. And we'll go into detail of this, and ego itself. All this, the separation, again, the last one is separation of you and I. All this put together is the activities of the mind. And where among all these things, the thoughts, actions, emotions, experiences, desires, habits, tendencies, your field of study, profession, goals, likes, dislikes, the separation of you and I and him, which of these define the soul? And we'll go through that. So, but this is all the activity of a human mind. If you look at I have a pet in my house, I have a cat. Now she will definitely have, most of this, but she definitely is not that intelligent to go, into a field of study or career, profession. So it's the animal nature, which is survivability and procreation. That's the only thing they have. So few of these in their wake states they go about. Human beings have more of it. The next state that we talk about is when a person has gone 7 o'clock. I'm just giving an example. 7 in the morning, he's left his house, and then he comes back in the evening. He has his dinner, and now he goes to sleep. Now, in the sleep state again, the mind is still active. Okay, what does the sleep state mean? We're going to talk about two levels of sleep state. So the first state is where the person goes into a dream state. Okay, so it has subtle thoughts, subtle actions, reactions, subtle emotions, subtle experiences, interactions, subtle desires, habits, tendencies. So whatever was is your nature or the human psychology in the wake state, most of the time, the dreams that a person gets is direct reflection of his um, awake state. So, but at the same time, when a person does a lot of prayers and he tries to go deeper, he does get, into higher states of dream, where the dreams are more of the reflection, revelation. It could be an inspiration. Say he's a scientist and he's trying to discover something, and he's gone about years together trying to find out, and suddenly one night, he gets an inspiration, and that opens up a door for his invention. A premonition. Some of one of your near ones or dear ones, you might get a feeling that maybe you're going to lose somebody, and these are all at a higher level of experience, um, of the subconscious mind, and compared to the basic level, where it's with the reflection of the wake state, where I could get a dream which would be reflecting on something, concerned with my family life or my profession or anything going around in society. Okay, so again, the sleep state, the point I'm trying to make it is the awake state is when the mind is completely active, is in full control of yourself. The dream state is you are sleeping, but there's still mind is active slightly. The subconscious mind is still working. Okay, and even though you're not moving around, your hands and limbs are not, you're not walking around, but but you're sleeping, but there's still the dreams are real. The experiences are real, because when you wake up from your sleep and say you had a good dream, that dream becomes part of your life. So it's not that you can ignore your dream and you can say that, oh, the dream was not part of my existence. It was definitely part of your existence. Okay, and finally we get to the third state, which is the deep sleep state. And the deep sleep state is when the mind has completely shut itself down. You have no thoughts, no actions, no reactions, no dreams, no emotions, positive, negative, no experiences. These are all in the dream. No desires, no habits, no tendencies, no likes and dislikes, and hence no ego. That's the main point. And hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the sleep is the little sister of death. So deep sleep is a state of a human being, where the human being has gone deeper from the dream state of sleep, and now he's in a deep sleep where when he gets up from his deep sleep, he feels well rested. And we're going to analyze these three states, which is the wake state, the sleep state, and the deep sleep state. Okay. Again, the deep sleep state, we're going to analyze this state a little more deeper, because it has got some secrets here. The deep sleep state is a state of bliss. The why we say that, why is it a state of bliss? The state of bliss or happiness. The happiness that is attained in deep sleep state is greater than all the pleasures attained through the sense organs when a person is awake. which is experienced by the body. Let's look at an example. So a king has not slept for a week, and he has been busy with his conquest or his activities, and he is going to tell his subjects or his ministers, let me sleep, I need to take some rest, my mind is tired, I'm exhausted. What does that actually mean is the mind, which is always involved in the world, the moment the baby is born, the mind starts working. And this discussion is about the mind versus the soul, so we are trying to understand the mind first here. Okay, the mind has got involved and it has done all the activity it can, and the body has been listening to the commands of the mind. Now it has come to a point that it needs to shut off. It says enough is enough. So the king says enough is enough. At that point, if you ask the king, we are not going to let you sleep now, the king will say, take my kingdom, but let me sleep for some hours. So you can imagine what he is ready to trade. He is ready to trade his kingdom for a few hours of good sleep. So the deep sleep state is a very important aspect of a human existence on this planet. Now what does that mean? In this state, the mind is shut down completely. Okay, there is bliss, because why there is bliss? When you come out of the sleep, you feel rested, you feel happy, you say, oh mashallah, I had a really good night's sleep. Nobody gets up from a deep sleep state saying, oh, I just feel, I had a deep sleep, but he's annoyed. No, never, nobody's annoyed. Everybody who gets up from a deep sleep state is happy, he's energized. And this state is important for us to understand my own self. This is what the point is. Okay, so what is the state? The state, there is bliss in the state. Okay, because the mind is shut down. So you need to understand the link that we're trying to put here. Why is there bliss? Because the mind was shut. Okay, but what is the state of what is the issue with the state? There was no awareness. What does that mean, there was no awareness? What it means is, whether you slept for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, you don't know. When you get up from the sleep, you say, oh my God, I slept for 4 hours, 6 hours. So that is there is happiness when you come out of the state, but there is no awareness. And there was no dreams like in the previous state, where the dream state. So you just come out, but you're happy, you're rested, and you feel good about going about life. Okay. So let's quickly redefine, the three states of the body and hence the mind. Okay. The first is the wake state, where the mind is fully active. The sleep state, the second state, where you could have dreams. Again, the dreams could be just the reflection of a daily, the day which went by, or a week which went by. It could be inspiration, it could be revelation. And the third is the deep sleep state, where the mind is completely shut off and you are not aware at all of your surroundings. Okay. Let's go now into define consciousness. How does these three states, the wake state, the sleep state, and the deep sleep state define my consciousness? Who am I? This is what my question. Who am I? Rather what am I? So let's at least define who am I before I go into what am I. The what am I is a much more deeper question. So I am the awake. I was awake, and I'm awake right now, and I'm listening to this talk. Okay, so that I is awake. That's the wake state. You could relate saying I was sleeping and I had a really good dream. That I is still there. Then the same I could say, I had a good night's sleep yesterday. I feel so rested. Oh, I slept for a long time and did not realize that 8 hours passed by. So what's the point that we're trying to make here? We are saying here that I, the waker, I, the dreamer, I, the sleeper. In this, the I is common. Now, common to all these three states is consciousness of I. So literally, between all three states, there is another state, which is the fourth state, which is your own consciousness, your own self. And that's the fourth state. It is apart from all three states, which is the wake state, the dream state, and the sleeper state. But all three states cannot exist without the consciousness. Okay, let's go to the next slide so it will be slightly more easier to understand. So let's look at this graphic image here. Relationship between consciousness and the three states of mind. So what is consciousness? It's the fourth state. It's the essence of your soul. It is contributing to my wake state, my sleep state, and to my deep sleep state. But the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state, they're all temporary states, because you keep on going, from one state to another state, and it's like a cyclical process. Okay. But the consciousness itself, which is common to the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state, which is the I am awake, I had a good dream, I slept deep for 8 hours. That I is the fourth state, which is the essence of your own soul. And that I-ness is what you need to tap into, which is common to all the three states. And how do you define this I-ness? Whatever is on the right hand side, which is the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state, they are temporary states. Okay. And we will define what is temporary versus what is infinite. And one of the aspects is to go within your own self to understand the infinite source within your own self. Okay. And which will help you go into deeper meditation. So how do I define the conscious state? Conscious state has three, which is connected to your soul, has three important characteristics. The first one is it's eternal, which means it's not time bound. When your soul leaves your body, which Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that every night Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala takes the soul away from the body, but it is like 6 to 10 feet away from your body, but it's still not connected fully to your body, within your body. When the death happens, the earthly death happens, then the soul separates from the body. The body goes back into the womb of Mother Earth, that is where it belongs to, and the soul goes back to wherever the journey is, whatever it achieved from the earthly life. So let's look at the aspect of the soul. The soul is eternal. Newton's third law talks about energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It only changes form. So the soul is eternal. Okay. Second, it is absolute. Now, what does that mean? It's absolute. I cannot relate any of my material objects that I see around in the earth and say that the soul is close to this, or I can relate my soul to something which I've seen in the earthly form, or objects I have seen on the earth. There's nothing in the earth or whatever you see in the heavens and the skies which you can compare with the soul. The third is the soul is limitless. What does that mean, limitless? Limitless means, for example, if I have a pen in my hand and I put the pen on my desk, and I can say, well, the pen is on this side of my desk and it occupies 2% of the area of my desk. So there is a limit or limited space that my pen occupies. But the soul has nothing like that. You cannot define whether the soul was there yesterday and it will be non-existent tomorrow. So it's eternal, it's absolute. You cannot have a comparison. It's limitless because when today, right now, it's just connected to your body. It's like, for example, you have a cell phone and it's dying because of no battery. You plug it into the power source and it's getting charged. And the moment you remove from the power source, The power is still there in the wires, but the cell phone doesn't get the power. The cell phone goes dead. So similarly, the soul is the source of all the power to the body. Like the power source is the source of power to the cell phone. The moment the soul separates from the body, like the cell phone's battery is dead, cell phone doesn't work. The mobile phone does not work. Okay. This is a very important slide, an extremely important slide, and I want you to understand this very, very carefully. Okay, what is the stable state? Okay, and it is, one of the slides which, if you get it, you will understand your own self much faster. On the left hand side, it says ignorance and error, and on the top you have the wake state, sleep state, deep sleep state, and pure consciousness. Okay. So what is the first wake state in comparison to ignorance and error? So wake state, is there ignorance? Absolutely. My own self, if I look at my own journey, in the wake state, I'm right now in the wake state. And in the wake state, I do, have questions about my life. I'm still in my self-discovery phase, right? And I have not realized my own self. So is there ignorance? Absolutely, there is ignorance, right? If I look at myself 20 years before, did I know about all these things that we're talking about? Absolutely no. So I'm still in the process of self-discovery. Error. Is there error in the wake state? Yes, absolutely. Today, if I have gone deeper into spirituality and become more wiser, the number of errors that I do in my life is less compared to if when I was much younger, a teenager or a youngster, the error rate was higher. So in the wake state, both ignorance is possible and error is possible. Okay, let's go to the next state, sleep state, which is dream state. Again, here, because it's a reflection of your, most of the time the dreams are reflection of your wake state, you could still have ignorance there. And because there is ignorance, the second column automatically becomes true, which is you could have an error. The second row, I mean. Let's go into the deep sleep state. In the deep sleep state, you have ignorance because, as we said here in the slide, in the deep sleep state, I'm ignorant of who I am. Who am I? But I have no error. This is very, very important to understand. In the deep sleep state, I'm ignorant of who am I because I'm sleeping like a log. I'm as good as dead. But there is no error. There is no wrong assessment in that state because the mind is not working. The mind is shut. Finally, you go into the fourth state, which is pure consciousness. It says pure consciousness encompasses all three states. There is no ignorance and there is no error. And that's what we talked about in the previous slide, where the pure state, pure consciousness of the wake state, it empowers the wake state, the sleep state, and the deep sleep state. But pure consciousness, once you get into that, you become an enlightened individual. You don't have any more ignorance, and since you don't have any ignorance, you will not have any more error. But the pure consciousness is not related to the mind. That is the whole point. It is related to the soul, the power of the soul, which is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, pure consciousness encompasses all three states, which is the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state. But there is no ignorance and error once you get into pure consciousness. And this is what the whole journey is. How do I go back into my own self? That is what Baba Muhyiddin, my Sheikh, says, to rediscover your own self and get into your own pure consciousness. So there is no ignorance and there is no error. Once you get into your pure consciousness, then you become so empowered as an individual. then you can easily control your wake state, your sleep state, and definitely you don't have to control your deep sleep state, because the output is error. Even if you're ignorant, that is fine in deep sleep state. You're not causing any harm. When does a human being start causing problems to the society? People have broken marriages. There's so much of violence in this world. Human beings are killing each other. That's when the error happens, because the ignorance directly feeds into the error. The ignorance directly feeds into the error, because what happens in pure consciousness is what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said: Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. That person who has realized his own self, that realization is the realization of who you are. What am I? Okay. So let's define deep sleep state, because it's very important, because you need to get a handle of this thing. It cannot be abstract. In deep sleep state, you are closest to the pure consciousness, and you need to understand that. So you can relate to deep sleep state. That is something that you experience, because if somebody has not experienced pure consciousness, and I can keep on talking for the next half an hour, it's not going to make sense. So just to give you so that you can relate to pure consciousness, is the closest state to pure consciousness is the deep sleep state. So here we say in the slide that pure consciousness minus awareness, because in deep sleep you are not aware of your own self. Minus awareness is the deep sleep state. Okay. Or you could put it in another way, that deep sleep state, where the mind is completely shut off, if you add awareness to that who am I, that becomes pure consciousness. Okay. And this, again, I'm going to quickly go through this one also: relation between consciousness with death itself. And again, the death is the when the and if you look at the way I have put the cyclical arrows and everything: wake state, deep state, sleep state, sleep state, deep sleep state, and the arrows from the conscious state going towards the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state, because the conscious state, fourth state, is empowering the wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state. But the death itself, when a person dies, when the soul is separated from the body, the one which is below and shown in the green electrical object here, it is going back into the consciousness. So whatever we live our life in this world, to how much level of spiritual enlightenment, or how much level of self-discovery we have done, that is the state that your soul will get to. And the realization of the soul, of how much you know the secrets of the universes, how much you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Alif Lam Mim. And this is again Alif Lam Mim. Alif is Allah, Lam is Muhyiddin, and Mim is stands for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the entire knowledge, again, it comes back from the ilm which was given to Ali radiallahu anhu, and which was passed from heart to heart, and finally revived by Ghaus al-Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, and it is available for us today, alhamdulillah. So death, again, is a liberation, because the examination was wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state. And when a person has mastered these three states, and he has lived a life which was benefiting for himself and for the rest of humanity, then death becomes a liberation, where the soul has finally attained what it had to, and it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So again, this is just to re-emphasize, is mind and consciousness the same? I'm pretty sure, at this point that we have gone through like 45 minutes of talk, that that mind and consciousness are not the same. Again, deep sleep state, sleep is bliss, because there's no agitation of the mind. But it is without awareness, but it again is energizing and pure state. When you come out of a deep sleep, you feel energized and you feel pure. You feel more energized to go about doing what you do in your life. Pure consciousness is connecting to one's own true infinite self. There is something within your own self right now, within your own body, which is connected to your body, not with your body, which is not connected to the body in the sense that you have your heart is there, lungs is there. No, it is something which is just connected. It doesn't belong to the body, just connected to your body, which is infinite and which is fully aware of it. And that is your soul. Once you connect to your soul, it is this, where you connect to pure consciousness. There is no more ignorance, there is no more error. And when you get to that level, and when you finally, man an arafa nafsuhu faqad arafa rabbahu, when you finally realize your own infinite self within you, which is part of, which came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Zat himself, the mind of such an individual, voluntarily, happily takes a back seat and let the soul drive his or her own existence, being in the earth. Baha Muhyiddin, my Sheikh, says, discover the presence of Allah, the Noor of Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Kutub Muhyiddin, which is the Lam, which is the wisdom which brought about, the discovery, self-discovery process, and your own soul. 4 entities: Allah Himself, the Noor of Allah, Kutub Muhyiddin, which is the Lam, which is the wisdom, and your own soul. 4 entities. What is the common for all these 4 entities? All 4 entities are eternal. Allah, His Noor, the wisdom which came from the heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your soul, all are eternal. There are presence of all 4 in your own self. But what happens is, because the human being is so entangled with his body and his mind, the real source of the identity of his own self, his self-discovery is so much blocked, because he's always relating to his mind. His wake state is so empowering that he's not able to silence his mind. Now, what you need to understand, this is most important, is to get to know these, the 4 things, Allah, Noor, Allah, the Noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Kutub Muhyiddin, and the soul. You have to do this in your wake state. This is very important. You cannot do this in your sleep state or in your deep sleep state. The only time when you can overcome your mind is when it is awake. That is the problem. That is where you go deeper into meditation, and that's how this presentation has been put together, to realize, where is the problem. Nobody can solve a problem if you don't understand what your problem is. You can only solve a problem once you realize what your problem is, you define what your problem is, then you can go about trying to fix a problem. Nobody can fix a problem without understanding what a problem is. So this is where we're trying to say the problem statement. The problem statement is, in my wake state, I have to silence my mind to such a level that I'm able to tap into my infinite self within my own being that Allah has put inside me. The problem with the world, with all the the confusion and the terror and all these things, people don't have peace of mind, is because the poor individual, or at a large the society, has not connected to that point within his own self, which is infinite, source of all bliss and happiness, which is connecting to your own Rabb. Just put a statement here: modern science does not understand distinction between mind and consciousness, and hence the ignorance of the dimension of the soul. I'm also a science student, and it's very shallow. It's very, very shallow. So the moment you connect to your soul and you go into the self-discovery process, you realize that you don't know anything. If you ask me what do I know, I would say I don't know anything. That's what you realize, and alhamdulillah, it's still a very satisfying feeling that you don't know anything, because Allah knows everything. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows everything. Alhamdulillah. Let's define the consciousness properties. Consciousness, what is its properties? Again, we're trying to understand something abstract, so I'm going to give you a little more information so you can grasp it better. Okay. Consciousness is the source which illuminates all 3 states of your life. right? Wake state, deep sleep state, wake state, dream state, and deep sleep state. Okay, and hence your life on this planet, because your life on this planet is either of the three states. If you're not in either of the three states, then you automatically go into the last state, which is the death, and you're out of here. Okay. And what is consciousness? It is eternal, which means even after your soul has left your body, the consciousness is a characteristics of your soul. Please, brothers and sisters, the mind is active because there is blood circulating through your body, and it's going to the mind, right? And you're having all these thoughts bombarded, and you're driving a car, you're driving to work, or you're talking on the phone, or you're doing something related to your profession. That's all because the mind is active. So the mind Allah put in place is only to control the body, the bodily functions, the earthly functions, but it has nothing to do with your spirituality. Okay, and this is the distinction that people have to make. I can read the Quran, I can go and listen to lectures, but if you are not going deeper and connecting to your own self, it's all in the mind. It's like another activity of the mind. And unfortunately, spirituality has nothing to do with the mind. Okay, and that's why most of the people, even youngsters of today, when I find is that when you talk about spirituality to them, they feel, okay, you know what, how is it going to benefit me? Because they think, unfortunately, that it's something related to the mind. And because in the world, I love to do this, I love to play video games, the mind, it gets more kick out of it, right? I love fast cars, those kind of things, right? That's where the young mind goes. But the spirituality has nothing to do with the mind. Consciousness is related to your soul. Okay, so again, defining consciousness, it illuminates these three states, which is the wake state, dream state, sleep state, and the deep sleep state. Deep sleep state. But what is the characteristics? It's eternal. Consciousness is eternal, because even if when the body dies, the brain is dead, there is no more activity, the body is like a log. There's no difference between a dead body and a wooden logs right next to it. Characteristics both are same. It's part of the five elemental energies: some water, some earth, some air, some ether, and some fire. That's all it is. There's nothing in there. But what about the consciousness? It's eternal. It's not time bound. It's absolute. It's unique. It does not have, you cannot compare it with any other object and say, oh, it is like a chalk or a duster or a pen. No, it cannot be defined by anything which is on the earthly materialistic sphere. Limitless. It's not bound by space. I cannot say my consciousness is in this room and it can only attain here, stay here. If I go into deep level of consciousness, I can, transport, through higher level of consciousness to another place. I can. It's not time bound. You can go and come. These are high levels of spiritual powers that you get. And what about the illumination thing? Illumination in the sense is tube light. I'm giving an example again. Yeah, you have a tube light in your house. Do you need another light to power the tube light? No. So like we have our beautiful planet Earth has got a sun. Okay, the sun is giving all the energy to the solar system. Do you need another sun to power the sun? No. It is self-illuminating. Your consciousness is self-illuminating. If you don't, for example, you have a body and you say you don't eat for 3 days, your body is going to get weak. So the body needs intake, okay, of food, of water from the planet Earth, and that's how the body survives. If you don't give the food and water, it's going to perish. It's a done deal, right? But soul, consciousness, no, it is empowered from the energy coming from the Zat of Allah. That is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a difference. The soul is empowered from Allah. The moment you are able to tap into that direct connection coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are in a state of bliss. And believe me, brothers and sisters, You have to experience it. Once you experience the bliss, your body will be in seventh heaven. And you know what happens? The mind takes a back seat. You know why it takes a back seat? Because it says, you know what? Whatever the body is experiencing, even though the body has nothing to do with the consciousness, the body gets that deep level of relaxation, state of complete bliss. And the mind says, you know what? No matter what I can do in my life, I can go to the moon and come back, as a human being, but I cannot attain this state. And the mind automatically, voluntarily shuts down. But what is the difference? You are not in deep sleep state at that point where you are not aware of yourself. No, you're completely aware of yourself. You are completely aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Muhyiddin. Okay, brothers? So again, what is consciousness? Is apart from thought. Thought is a function of the mind. It is not the introspection of the mind and not related to the 5 elemental energies, which is constituting the entire universe is made up of the 5 elemental energies, and we'll talk about that in the future slides. Okay. The 5 elemental energies quickly, and I have talked about this in other presentations. So earth, fire, water, air, and ether. Allah created the entire materialistic universe, which is la ilaha. Illallahu is his zat. La ilaha is the creation. And in that creation, he has put the soul in individual bodies, which is part of illallahu, which is the soul belongs to Allah. That composition of the soul is a secret. It belongs to Allah. Doesn't belong to the created universe, which is la ilaha. Soul belongs to illallahu. And your dream is to make your body and your mind conform to that reality, that the life here is temporary. I have come here for the self-realization of my own self, and I have to go back. And what remains in the journey of in this planet is, I've been born, I am a father, I am a brother, I am a sister, I am a mother. Whatever roles I have to play, I play that role, act positive in my society, do good deeds, and go back. So again, the soul created from the deep meditation of his zat. Allah created the soul came out of his heart. Again, there's a process which happened from the zat, from his deep meditation. What emerged was the noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from that noor our souls were created, from the noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is going back to the beginningless beginning. Baba talks about it, Baba Muhyiddin, about the beginningless beginning, Annati state, Ati state, and these are all in his books. And this is again a quick effort, to make the person realize, what the journey is about. There is definitely much more stuff to be learned. Okay. Let's quickly go through this. This slide doesn't have much to explain. 5 elemental energies, what this is. Okay. We are human beings made of low energy, right? Human souls, we are made of low energy. We are made of clay. Why I'm putting this is we need to understand, our enemy, Shaitan. Okay. Definitely, we need to understand our enemy to conquer your enemy. If you don't understand your enemy, you cannot conquer your enemy. Let's understand the enemy. So we are made of clay. We are of lower energy level. Okay. Now clay, when you go to a potter or you go to a sculpturer, how does he shape the clay? He adds some water inside that, and then he starts, making a paste out of it, and then slowly starts creating the image or object that he wants to create. Similarly, Allah has created this human being, the body from clay, but we are not 100% clay. Okay, and it's beautiful composition. It's a beautiful composition. When the scientists analyze our body, they said 72% of our body is water, and there is a 28% of earth, and in combination with air and fire. Okay. So if you look at the composition of the planet Earth, approximately 72% of the planet Earth is water, and the rest 28% is contained with the earth, the fire, and the air. So even our body is a direct reflection of the planet Earth's composition itself. It's beautiful. Allah's creation is beautiful, mashallah. So but here's the point. From a spiritual perspective, when when the sculptor is creating an object in clay, he mixes that with water. What does Allah do? Allah, who has shaped and given life to the human being, through trials and tribulations shapes him. Very important, brothers and sisters. So when you get into trials and tribulations, don't worry about it. Allah is shaping you. He loves you 70 times more than your own mother who gave birth to you. She loves you. So be patient. He's shaping you, but what you got to do is, you have to, when you're going through these trials and tribulations, don't look outside. Go within your own self. Go into the self-realization journey. Very important. When people go through trials and tribulations, they look outside. They look for comfort outside. No, that's the wrong focus. Look with your own self. Go into deep meditation. Go into zikr Allah, and Allah will, quickly. Once a sculptor, this is a very important point. Once a sculptor has finished creating the object that he wants to create, he leaves it alone. Tell me one sculptor who, once he's created his object, he goes and puts more water on the clay and starts disturbing it. No. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the reason why you have in your life you have sorrows and difficulties, because the sculptor, the bigger sculptor, which is Allah, has not finished with perfecting you. The faster you perfect, the sooner he will be done with working on you, and you'll be done. Okay, let's go to the fire element. Higher level of energy compared to the clay. So even if when you light a fire and you have some earth next to the fire, you'll see the earth is big. If you put it as a heap, it will lay as a heap. But what happens to the fire? If you light a fire in your house, and especially in America, in Canada, we have wooden houses. What will happen? It will not stay at one place. It will slowly start eating up the whole house. So fire is a higher level of energy, has destructive energy. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the 5 elemental, the earth, fire, water, air, and ether, He controlled these 5 elements with the kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We'll talk about that later. But again, the point here is that shaitan is created from fire. So he is, he's got more, flares up. Okay. Human being also has a certain aspect, around 6% of the human body is got the fire element in him. And that 6% is used by shaitan to flare you up. People do bad deeds, Allah, it's a Allah talks about in the Quran of the waswasa of shaitan, of the whispering of the shaitan. Huzur sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the shaitan is in your blood. There is heat in your body. There is heat in your body. The fire element is there in your body. When a doctor touches you, there is approximately 36 degrees centigrade warm. There is fire element in your body. But when you see that when somebody gets angry, you see he heats up, right? That's when the fire is flaring. So you need to understand how shaitan works. You'll see a guy who's sitting there happily looking, sitting at the beach, having a good time. You'll never see him angry. He will be having a good time. So again, what I'm trying to say is look at your own self. Start looking at your own self not as just a being, but as an energy level. Start looking at yourself, a soul, pure source of energy level, energy coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your body has the 5 elements of fire, earth, fire, water, air, ether. People do bad deeds, negative actions, emotions, hate, backbiting, killings, right? They watch bad movies on the internet and other stuff. They do all these things with very high intensity. You will never find a person, hating somebody or backbiting or killing when he's at ease. No. When he is at full intensity in the wrong way, that is when these bad actions and emotions come out, right? So when you feed your consciousness from the devil, there is high intensity there. But unfortunately, when the same person, say I get angry, for whatever reason, I'm not a wise person, I get angry and I'm all pissed. But what happens, it's the time for the Maghrib prayer. Do I have the same intensity of anger in my prayer where I'm completely, annihilated into in my prayer that I don't even know that I'm standing, and in my prayer I'm just completely fana in my Allah? No. So, that's what I'm trying to say. The intensity of the prayer is not fed from the five elemental energies. It is fed from your consciousness. Okay, so the more you develop your consciousness, the more intense will be your prayer. Now, again, if you're living a life of pure consciousness, you will be indifferent from what is happening in your life. What is that my indifference? Right? You have the weak state, the wake state, the dream state, the sleep state. So, for example, we got to talk about examples, which is easier for people to understand. Somebody hurts me, I'm sitting there, and somebody comes and he has got some misunderstanding about me, and he starts accusing me of some things, and I am pissed myself, and here you go, the mind is saying, oh, so and so is abusing you, you cannot sit quiet, react to it. Immediately the ego flares up, the mind the flares up and says you go into a reactionary mode. And what happens? Now you start reacting. It's the temporary existence. Now that happens with the mind all the time, and unfortunately that's where 99.999% of human beings are, right? They think that is what the self I means. It's only one of the states, or one of the three states, as far as you are concerned. Now that you have listened to this part of so much of the presentation, it's just one of the wake states. But my consciousness is beyond the wake state, the sleep state, or the deep sleep state. So what does my consciousness do when somebody is abusing me? The consciousness, and this is where, brothers and sisters, very important part of the slide of the presentation. When you go into a circumstance or situation where somebody around the surrounding or whatever, your mind is not able to react. The mind goes into a panic mode, anxiety mode, when it does not know how to react. That is when quickly with meditation you have to learn to go back into your consciousness. And how does the consciousness react to the same situation? I myself am the witness of an angry thought. Think about it. There is a separation right here. You're watching this guy abusing you, and you feel that it's my birthright to go back on him. But now the consciousness, which has no ignorance and no error, says, I am witness of an angry thought. The moment you say you are a witness, you are not part of the situation. And you separate yourself from the ego of the mind. And you say, I'm in total control of my destiny. I, the soul, I'm eternal. I'm absolute. I'm limitless, and choose to act wisely. There is no ignorance, there is no error. This is what Baba Muhyiddin radiallahu anhu, he talks about the divine analytical wisdom, where you go deeper into your own soul and you analyze everything. Oh, for example, this is so beautiful, so beautiful. I want, brothers and sisters, I want to relate this thing. And I'm a weak human being myself. I'm also trying to, in my own self-discovery phase, and I want to relate this incident so you'll understand how deep, the Sahabas were trained by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Ali radiallahu anhu, I'm going to take this example of Ali radiallahu anhu, when he became the Amirul Mu'mineen, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about Ali radiallahu anhu, who was the beloved husband of his beloved daughter Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. Ali radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, two hadiths again, ana madinatul ilm wa Ali babuha, that I am the if I am the door, I am the door of Medina, the city of ilm, then Ali is the gate. You have to enter through Ali radiallahu anhu. Okay, I don't have time to discuss it deep. This, if I start talking about this one hadith, it will take 1 hour or more than that. The second one I want to bring is Man kuntum Mawla Fahada Aliun Mawla. For whom I am the Mawla, I am the master, for him Ali is the master. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahabas when they were returning from Makkah after Hajjatul Wida of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and when Ali radiallahu anhu became the fourth Khalifa, the Khulafa Rashidin, after Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, Uthman al-Ghani radiallahu anhu, then Ali bin Abu Talib Karmallahu Wajah, he became the Khalifatul Mu'mineen, he became the Amirul Mu'mineen of the Muslim Ummah. He saw his, he was Shaheed, he was stabbed by one of the people at that time, and I don't want to get into the deep of who stabbed who and why and all that, but he was stabbed by one of the people, and he when he was walking in the streets of Kufa, which is part of Iraq now, he saw the person who is going to kill him, Shaheed him, walking from the opposite direction. And he pointed at the person and said, this person, so and so person, is going to attack me, and I'm going to be shaheed with his own hands, with this guy's hands. And there were 3 Sahabas with him, walking with him, and they said, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, why can't we just go and arrest him right now? You know about it. Why can't we do it? It's the qadar of Allah. So beautiful. Consciousness at the highest level. It's the qadar of Allah. Let it happen. Now I want to bring you to another point. It was the morning time, Fajr time, and Ali radiallahu anhu was leading the prayer. That is impossible. It's impossible, brothers, that somebody can attack Ali radiallahu anhu when he's standing with his sword Zulfikar and overpower Ali radiallahu anhu. It is not possible. There's no human being on a one-to-one can come to Ali radiallahu anhu and win over it. Same thing with Hussein radiallahu anhu. What happened at Karbala? Hussein radiallahu anhu was shaheed when he was in sujood. When he went into prayer, that's when they severed his neck, cut his neck, severed his head from his body. Nobody could get close to Hussein radiallahu anhu otherwise. Same thing, Ali radiallahu anhu was in his prayer. He was leading the Fajr prayer. The assassin came and stabbed him from his back, and Ali radiallahu anhu fell. Look at the mercy and the compassion of Ali radiallahu anhu. He looked at the face of that assassin. Here's Ali radiallahu anhu, he's bleeding. He's dying. He knew this person is going to kill him 3 days before. He let him loose. He's dying right now, and he looks at the face of that assassin and he says, can you bring some water? Now here is Amirul Mu'mineen, he's not died, commanding to his fellow Ummat, please bring some water. And they were shocked. They said, why do you need water? Maybe they thought Ali radiallahu anhu need water. When the water was brought, he said, give it to this person. I think he is not drank water. Maybe he's fasting. This is the amount of care. Highest level of compassion and love. The assassin has just stabbed you. It's a fatal wound. And Ali radiallahu anhu is more concerned about the lips, looking at the lips of that assassin, saying that, he needs some water, give him some water. The Sahabas asked Ali radiallahu anhu, how could you be so compassionate? Even at this time. The beautiful answer of Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, everybody has their own reasoning for why they do things. I don't know, maybe I have done something wrong for him, that he has to react in such a way. Brother, this is the highest level of consciousness where you let go. If Ali radiallahu anhu wanted, he could have done anything. He let go and he surrendered to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, divine analytical wisdom. Now, effect of being aware of one's consciousness. When one realizes the true nature of one's existence, world will still come in front of you as before. It's a good example, it's the blessing of Allah that He put it in my heart when I was looking at this slide, that but you will remain untouched. You will be a witness to the situation and not react to the situation. Ali radiallahu anhu did not react to the situation. He let it happen. Why? Who is in control? Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. And what religion am I following? Following the religion of Islam, which comes from the deep root word salam, which is peace and surrender to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An explanation below: the subtle reality of the karma of the people, or the intentions of the people involved, the will of Allah, the deceit of shaitan, and finally my reaction to the situation, with emphasis to what? Emphasis to not to jeopardize my spiritual journey, not to be in a reactive state and do something silly or stupid that you would regret the highest goal of this earthly life, which is the journey into illallahu. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You came as a ray of light. Your soul came as a ray of light from the heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have to return back. And that is the real journey. The unstable and the wavering mind, hence the seat of shaitan. Shaitan comes to you through the wavering mind. Once you are able to control your mind, shaitan has lost control over you. Brothers and sisters, cannot do anything. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in hadith said, when Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu walks one way, shaitan goes the other way. You know why? Because Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu has mastered his mind. Shaitan knows, I go behind him, I'll be kicked. So brothers and sisters, if we weak human beings, much weaker than the blessed Sahabas or the Tabi'ins or the Tabi Tabi'ins, living in the time of the fitna of Dajjal, even if we attempt a little bit, we will inshallah attain enough power to help protect ourselves. Forget the world, at least protect ourselves. Again, just going back to the presentation, what is the mind? It's it's a summarization. It's the center of thoughts, emotions, memory, desires, pains, suffering, imaginations, expectations, you and I, the separation of the ego, I'm supreme, and what is consciousness? Is just the witness. And unfortunately, in most of the people, what happens? The mind, it overshadows the consciousness, and which is the root cause of the problem. Okay. Now let's define another term. We went deep into what is consciousness, versus the functions of the mind, which is the wake state, deep state, sleep state, and the deep sleep state. Now we're going to go into pure existence, because there is a relation between consciousness and pure existence. Okay, what is pure existence? Okay, you and I, as since we are listening to this presentation, we exist, right, as energy form, right? I'm talking on the microphone, it's getting recorded, I'm going to put it on the internet, and you're going to listen, right? So we are existing, so there is energy within us, we are energy forms. But there are two aspects of the existence. One is the temporary existence of the mind and the body, and the second is the eternal existence of the soul with pure consciousness. So the moment I say I exist, I should be intelligent enough now to say there are two aspects of me, and I need to learn to separate the two aspects. One is the mind and the body, which is separate and which is temporary, and the eternal existence of my soul, which is within me, and the pure consciousness, which says I am the witness of the wake state, the sleep state, and the deep sleep state, and I'm not touched by any of these three. I'm separate from all three states. Okay. So again, the three states of the body in relation to existence. Again, because we have covered this thing, I'll go a little quicker. Temporary existence, wake state, sleep state, deep sleep state. because all this is connected to the mind and body. The moment the soul leaves the body, what happens? Temporary existence is gone. There is no more wake state, sleep state, and deep sleep state. These are all the functions of the body in the earth plane, okay, and nothing to relate it to your soul. This is a very important slide. Relation between pure existence and consciousness. When I say pure, I'm adding the word pure here, very important. Pure means now you have realized that you are not the mind anymore, and you are in this journey. You have started meditation, okay, and you are able to now connect to your own self. Okay, that is what I mean by pure existence and pure consciousness. And you can always use this presentation as to go back later in the journey and to refresh if there is anything where you can help. It can help you later. So again, pure existence and pure consciousness. There can be no existence without consciousness, because consciousness is coming from your soul, and the soul is coming from the heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Existence, whether it's temporary, or which is the temporary is the mind and the body, and the permanent is your soul itself, it can only exist because there is consciousness, and vice versa. There can be no consciousness without existence. And we'll go through that a little deeper, but this is just for you to contemplate on that. Existence and consciousness are in sync with each other. They cannot exist without each other. They have to coexist. Okay, let's go to quickly, and this is an easy topic compared to consciousness, relation between object and existence. Again, because this is a little more psychology also there, so I want to go through this also. Let's define an object. Okay, a pen is an object, hence a pen cannot be a pencil, right? If there's a pen, there's a pencil next to it, nobody will say the pen and pencil are the same. No, they're both distinct objects. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now let's look at the relation between object and existence. Existence itself is appearing as a chalk. The chalk has a limit, and it's a defined space and time. The more you keep on writing the chalk on the blackboard, it is going to be finished. And when you put the chalk on a table, the chalk takes a certain space. So there is a limit for the amount of time it exists and the space it takes. We can also look at the chalk and say, okay, it's made of limestone. Then we can say that the limestone manifested in the form of chalk. Okay. Now, when we look at from the waves, on the sea, go to the seashore and look at the waves, we say, the water is manifesting in the form of waves, right? And it's not vice versa. That is waves manifesting in the form of water, right? Similarly, pure existence has no limit. Okay, and an entity apart from existence is non-existence, which is hence not true. So everything in the created sphere, it's either the object itself or it's a manifestation of the source. Okay, so like as we said, the waves in the sea is water manifesting in the form of waves. The water can manifest in the form of a stream, in a small a river, vice versa, right? And vice versa, which is we said does not hold true. Okay. The next one is look at atom exists, chalk exists, pen exists, table exists, planets exist, galaxies exist. Are these Allah? So what we have to do is we have to look at the test of infinity. So 3 questions we're going to ask looking at each of the objects. Is this eternal? Is the object eternal? Is it absolute, or is it limitless? So eternal means it's not bound by time. Absolute means it is unique. It cannot be compared with what you have in the 5 elemental energy or in the world, in the universe. And limitless means it is not bound by space. So when we look at the atom, the chalk, the pen, the planets, the galaxies, everything is neither eternal nor absolute nor limitless. Everything has a limit. So if it has a limit, then it's not infinite. If it's not infinite, it's not Allah. So mashallah, it is the most beautiful, tafakkur, the contemplation that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam did, and he came to the conclusion that something which he looked at the sun, it set. He looked at the moon in the night, it set. He looked at the stars in the night, then it set. He said, whatever sets, it cannot be my Rabb. Something which rises and sets is not my Rabb. So that's how Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam came to the beautiful conclusion. Now let's look at the form itself, the form of the body. Why do we need a form? A student asked a spiritual teacher at one point, why do I need a form? So the teacher was immense personality. So instead of giving him a huge lecture, he said, get me some water. And the student obediently gets water to the sheikh in a glass. The teacher questions the student. He said, I did not ask for the glass, I only asked for the water. And the student was amazed. He understood what the sheikh meant. He said, the sheikh said that the moral of the story is, I can only experience the water if I have a container, which is the glass. Similarly, in this earthly existence, I can only experience the divine if I have this body, and within this body is connected my soul. So for sustaining life of the soul, the pure soul in the Alam-e-Nasut, and we talked about this in Hakikat-e-Muhammadiyya presentation. In Alam-e-Nasut is the lowest of the dunya, which is Alam-e-Dunya. It has to be covered by the human body. Okay, and the whole idea of realizing one's own self is to go beyond the mind and the body and get into the soul. So to experience the divine, I need the body in this world. My body does the function of the glass to experience the pure consciousness, the power of the soul. So I do need the sleep state, the wake state, sleep state, and the deep sleep state. And then Allah has, in His infinite, wisdom of creation, I have to still my mind. That is when I can go into my power of my soul. So when you go into pure consciousness, which is the power of the soul, that is when we equate to a transparent and still water of a lake. Once the disturbance of the mind has ceased, to reach its ultimate potential through God consciousness. So what happens when you look at the lake, right? When you go into a surface, when you go to a lake, which is, it's got clean water and it's a sunny day, you can go and there is no waves, or ripples on the water. You can go and there is enough sunlight. You can look deep into the bottom of the lake. So similarly, when your mind calms down and there's no more disturbance of thought, that is when you connect to your true being of your own soul, of your pure consciousness. And that pure consciousness equates right away, because that's how the pure consciousness relate to your existence, your pure existence. And you go back to the source of illalahu, okay, which is the meditation of the consciousness of Allah. Now, object and existence. So quickly, we covered this thing, but again, just to add to it, a pen is an object, an entity. Hence, a pen cannot be a pencil, and vice versa. They're distinct entities from each other, hence limited by time, space, and hence not Allah. This is the same conclusion with Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam came. Now, there's one thing you need to understand here. Allah's Qudrat, power, exists everywhere because it creates, sustains, and protects the 18,000 universes that Allah has created. Allah's power and Qudrat exist everywhere. But the essence of Allah, the Zat of Allah, exists in a mysterious location in the resplendent heart, the heart of Ahmad, which is the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which can only worship Allah. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went for Miraj, you and I worship Allah through the scriptures that has been handed over and through contemplation. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went and saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's different level. His iman is at the highest level. That's the reason his Khatam al-Nabi, the seal of the prophets, the only human, the Noor of Allah who came in the human form, and he saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's, iman is seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's so beautiful because the potential that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given in every Muslim. You should think about this thing. A Sahaba was praying in Masjid al-Nabawi, and he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, how should I pray to Allah? He said, pray as if you see him. Can you imagine that? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given you a reference. Pray as if you see him. And we will cover that topic. We'll cover that in the next few slides. And the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, I cannot see Allah. He said, then pray as if you think that Allah can see you. Okay. So pray as if you see him is the higher level of prayer, the ihsan. And pray as if Allah is seeing you is the lower level of prayer, where the person is still going through, the Sahabi was still going through his spiritual elevation. And Alhamdulillah, every Sahabi is the highest of the high. When they passed away in this life, they were at the highest levels of ihsan. So that Sahabi asked that beautiful question for people like you and me to understand that there is prayer where you can see Allah and pray. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged the Sahabi to do that. Okay. It's the qalb of Ahmad. The qalb of Ahmad is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's qalb. So unless my heart starts mingling with the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah purifies you, that you are eligible enough to mingle with the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then your spiritual eye opens up, and through your spiritual eye you see Allah and you worship Allah. You have to get into the state of Fanafi Rasul. That's what it means here. Now define Allah. Again, this is quickly, because I wanted to make this presentation complete. Okay, define Allah for most of the people. Again, there is sifat and zat, of Allah. So the sifat is the attributes of Allah. He is the truth, the reality, ya haq. His knowledge is encompassing everything. Is ya alim. He is eternal. Ya awwal, ya akhir. Beginningless beginning. He will exist after the universes have all ceased to exist. He is omnipresent. He cannot be limited to time and space. He is absolute. He is unique, right? And because he is absolute and he is unique, he is non-dual, right? You cannot, he's illallahu, he's everything, he's complete. What is la ilaha? La ilaha is the creation, duality of material existence, where the mind is there, the body is there, is I and you, but within that I and you, within that body, Allah has put his absolute power within you, which is in your soul. The moment you connect to your soul, brothers and sisters, then you will lose your identity, which is the most beautiful thing that you can experience in this world. Living in this world, have to go through the duties of being a father, a mother, a son, or a daughter, and all these things. We have to go to work, earn a living, all these things. But when you go into deep meditation, and the moment you connect your soul, you lose your identity, because the power of Allah is overwhelming. And when you lose your identity, you touch the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the qalb of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you start melting. Your heart start melting, and we'll cover that up. But till you get to that point where the heart has not started melting, the person is in the la ilaha state, where I and him, and I am going to get angry, and if that situation changing, if everything is good, I'm going to be a good person and cheering. If the situation changes around me, I'm going to be a real pissed off guy. Those kind of things. It's like the external circumstances defines the individuality of the reaction of the person. But the moment you get into the soul, you become the unchanging personality with a pure consciousness, which knows that I am neither the wake state, I'm neither the sleep state, I'm neither the deep sleep state. I am the pure consciousness which is infinite, connected back to the source, which is the qalb of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the qalb of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the qalb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This beautiful thing, Miraj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba Ikram asked when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went for Miraj and came back, Ya Rasulullah, where did you go? He said, La Maqam. What does La Maqam means? No place. Cannot be defined by the physical universes. You cannot say, at the speed of light years, billions of miles away. No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam defined in a beautiful way, La Maqam. Where did you go and where did you get the 5-time prayers? Where did you sit and say At-Tahiyat? He said, La Maqam. The place doesn't exist because it's in a different spiritual realm. That is the realm of your soul. But brothers and sisters, every human, in the Sufi terminology, every human being has a Miraj. And that Miraj, he sees, witnesses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his Miraj. And we'll go through that in the next few slides. And again, the next, the slide talking about the eternal existence. Why I want to bring this up is every drop of Atlantic Ocean, if you go to the Atlantic Ocean, and you take a glass of water from the ocean, that glass of water will have the pH value, the salt content and everything exactly same as the entire Atlantic Ocean. You go to the Pacific Ocean, you get a glass of water. It will have a unique pH content, salt value, minerals and everything of the Pacific Ocean. Go to the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean, everything has got its own characteristics. Similarly, let's go through these 3 blocks here. Temporary existence, 5 elemental energies, mind and body, false identity. Why? Anything which is temporary is false identity, because it is not going to be there after some time. So let's relate myself and say, when I look at my ego, I have roles to play. I know I have to, because I'm born in this world, but the real journey is self-discovery. The rest is, it's part of life. Everybody who is born in this world is going to die someday and going to pass away. So I'm not going to make it a big deal. If something happens to my life, I'm going to be in a reactionary mode. No, I'll try to do the best I can. I'll live a good life as a human being and pass away. And my main goal is to, which set by my beloved Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. That is my main goal. And then once I realize that, وَمَا خَلَقْنَا الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Now I start worshipping my Rabb, my most compassionate, my Rabb who loves me 70 times more than my own mother loves you. Once I realize my own self, you go into the second state. I'm going from the left, from the right to the left. Pure consciousness, being aware of one's true identity. And once you are being aware of your true identity, of you being eternal, not a temporary person, you being eternal, you merge, go back into the to the next one on the left side, which is the eternal existence, the universal consciousness. The universal consciousness of Alif Lam Mim. Alif is Allah, Lam is Muhyiddin, and Mim stands for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And which is Alif Lam Mim is the secret, which starts, Surah Baqarah starts with Alif Lam Mim. Zalikal Kitabul La Raiba Fi. The secret of this was given to Kutub, through Ali radiallahu anhu, through Fatima, Ali radiallahu anhu's children, Hassan, Hussein radiallahu anhu, the Kutub, Gausul Azam, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jinan radiallahu anhu, revived. Muhyiddin means somebody who revives the true Islam. And I want to share this thing, brothers and sisters, very important. Hassan, Hussein radiallahu anhu, Fatima radiallahu anha knew, that her 2 sons are going to be shaheed. And she used to pray. But it was so beautiful. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to kiss the lips of Hassan radiallahu anhu, and he used to kiss the neck of Hussein radiallahu anhu. The Sahabas used to ask, Ya Rasulullah, why you kiss the lips of Hassan radiallahu anhu? And he used to say, this son of mine is going to be poisoned, and he's going to be shaheed because he's going to be poisoned, some food given from his mouth. And why would kiss the neck of Hussein radiallahu anhu? Because he said that my Hussein's neck is going to be severed. So, brothers and sisters, Fatima radiallahu anha knew about Hassan and Hussein radiallahu anhu's life is going to be cut short because of the munafiqs of this ummah, who would say they are Muslims by their tongue, but they would not have, atom's worth of iman. This hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that they will lose their faith much at a higher speed than the speed in which the arrow leaves the bow. The hadith talks about that. That hadith talks about the same individuals, some set of people who said Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that they will, when they walk out of their houses in the morning during the fitna of Dajjal, they will be mu'min and they come back as kafir, because they would have sold their iman for earning the trinkets of this world. It is not talking about the pure 73rd sect whose heart has been cleansed by the love of Ahlul Bayt, and they will be protected till their time on this earth. The reason I'm spending some time here is because when Fatima radiallahu anha was told that, when it was revealed that Hassan Hussein radiallahu anhu will be shaheed, she used to cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one day she was in his prayer, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the front, and Fatima radiallahu anha was praying behind, and Angel Jibril came, alayhi salam came and requested Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to ask Fatima radiallahu anha, who was in sujood, to get up from sujood. And then he gave two souls in the hand of Fatima radiallahu anha. On the right hand, the soul was green color, and that was the soul of Ghaus al-Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu. And the left hand, it was the soul of Hazrat Makdum Alauddin Sabir Pak radiallahu anhu. And said, these are the two souls gifted to Fatima, who will be born in the progeny of Hassan Hussein radiallahu anhu, who will revive, who will be the imams of this ummah, who will revive the true faith of Islam and revive the true knowledge, ilm, which was given to Ali radiallahu anhu. Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Ali Babuha. I am the city of ilm and Ali is the gate. They will revive it. Brothers and sisters, this Alif Lam Mim is the true ilm which came to Ali radiallahu anhu. If you are at a Shariat level and you are listening to this thing and you say, I don't know what this presentation is talking about, yes, brothers, this is part of Islam, and this is part of the pure Islam, and you should make an effort to go and understand more about Alif Lam Mim, because that itself it defines your own existence. Okay. And I want to spend some time, this is a beautiful topic again, Nabiul Ummi, again discussed in other presentations which is there on the internet. I put, which is Noor Muhammad, Haqiqat Muhammadiyya and Fanaf Rasul. Nabiul Ummi, some of the people of this ummah, they say Nabiul Ummi because he was in auzubillah, unlettered and unlearned. No, let's clear it up right away, because if you say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was unlettered and unlearned, you will become a munafiq. Let me repeat it. If somebody says he was unlettered and unlearned, you will become a munafiq. You are already a munafiq if you believe that. Okay, so let's make you a true believer. So how do you become a true believer? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith, it says wal fakhri wal fakhru minni. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that if I'm proud of something, it's fakhr, and fakhr is from me. And what is fakhr? Is to become a fakir. Okay, and it has a direct connection to Nabiul Ummi. That's the reason I'm bringing up this hadith also. You have to become a fakir of the dunya, which means this dunya cannot cannot buy you. What does that mean? You become priceless. Nothing in the dunya can buy you. You may be earning a salary and you may be good in a good profession, you will be a good businessman, but no, there is a core of your own existence. Nobody can buy you that. buy off you for that. You are a person of principles, a person of deep conviction. You know, you're a compassionate and merciful person. You're a truthful person. No, that core of your being cannot be bought. Okay, what is fakir? Fakir of the dunya is once you become the fakir, and when you go into the spiritual journey, what you will find is when you go into deeper and deeper levels of meditation, you become more silent. You start loving solace. You start loving to be left alone from the world. You know, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, before he was proclaimed as the Nabi. You know, when he was 37 years old, he started going to Gara Hira, and he used to go. You know, first he used to go for in the morning, and he used to come back in the evening. Ummah Khadija radiyallahu anha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless my blessed mother. You know, if I'm saying this presentation right now, it's because of her blessing, her sacrifices. If it was not there, those ummah would not be there. I mean, so Ummah Khadija used to pack some dates and some water, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to take it up to the Gara Hira. First, he used to spend time from morning to evening. Then slowly the time started getting more, duration increased. Then he would go for 3 days. But what would happen when we come back after 3 days? Ummah Khadija radhiyallahu anha, would see that the level of water has not decreased. The number of dates are the same, which means Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has gone into his own soul and connected to the divine. Now that the body, function of the body, even eating, drinking water, is not needed anymore, because the power of the soul, the power of the Zat of Allah is feeding it. Al Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the Noor of Allah. I don't even have to say anything. But even there are Sufis who, for example, Hazrat Alauddin Ali Ahmad Sabir Pak radiyallahu anhu, when he was in Kaliyar Sharif, he stood for 12 years, brothers and sisters, holding the branch of a tree in complete, they say, alam istigrat, it's like in complete jazb of his, looking at the mirage of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And 12 years he stood there. His body did not need any water or food or anything. And he lived beyond, after that for long years. He died, when he passed away in his 90s. So what I'm saying is there are, high spiritual beings, and Sabir Pak is one of those gifts which was given to Ummah Fatima radiallahu anha, because Hassan Hussain radiallahu anhu will be Shaheed. So one was Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani and another was Hazrat Sabir Pak. So Nabil Ummi, coming back to Nabil Ummi, when I go into the spiritual journey and go deeper and deeper, I go into the still being of my core, the core of my existence, the pure consciousness and the pure existence, my reality. At that point, my soul starts witnessing the mirage of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what is my mirage? And when you witness the mirage by mingling, your soul mingling with Muhyiddin, which is the soul of the Kutub, which is Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu anhu. Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu anhu, he elevates you to the level where you can see the mirage of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that is the reality of the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And your prayer, every sujood, when you go, you witness the mirage of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, what is prayer? He said, the mirage of a moment. The prayer is the mirage of the moment. This is, brothers, the highest level of prayer. This is the prayer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept, and not the prayer of the mind, where you stand in the prayer and you're swiping credit card, all the thoughts which were forgotten came in the prayer. You are angry and pissed off of what's happening around in the world. You finish Surah Fatiha, you finish the surahs of the Quran, and you say, how many surahs did I pray? Did you even get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Did you get close to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Did you get close to Ahlul Bayt because you're reciting the salawat on Ahlul Bayt? No. And I want to put this quote at the bottom, which is again Khatam al-Nabi, the Nabil Ummi. Ummi means when a person knows everything, then he becomes silent. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's the Noor of Allah. The entire secrets of the existence of the universe is in Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nobody has to teach him anything. And brothers and sisters, just a quote. It's a quote from the Western philosophy. Empty vessels make a lot of noise. If you have a vessel and you put one stone inside and you start shaking the vessel, you will hear a lot of noise. If you fill the vessel with pebbles completely to the surface and you cover the lid and you try to shake it, you'll not hear a noise. So, when person becomes silent, it doesn't mean he doesn't know anything. It means he knows everything. So in our villa, there are people who are, misguided. They say Nabil Ummi, he was unlettered and unlearned in Auzubillah. You know, I don't even want to say this thing, but I want to clarify. That's the reason I say these words. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew everything, and ilmul ghaib and everything, because he's the nur of Allah. That's it. Okay. Again, pure consciousness merges with the individual soul, and silence is what is the byproduct of the pure consciousness merging with the individual soul. All sounds merges into soundlessness, hence completeness, and that is Nabil Ummi, completeness, which is nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The still core of my existence, the qalb, which is Fanaf Rasul, merging of Ahmad into Allah, the merging of the qalb of Ahmad, which knows, which has seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, into Allah, and which is illallahu. From Ahmad, this is a deep spiritual thing, brothers and sisters. From Ahmad, if you remove Meme, this is Ahmad minus Meme becomes Ahad. And Meme stands for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when you add, Ahad is Allah, the one and one only Allah. When you add to Ahad, Meme inside Ahad, it becomes Ahmad. Okay, this is a deep spiritual thing. So it is the qalb of Ahmad which knows the Ahad. So Fanafe Allah can only happen when you do Fanafe Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And you exist. So in Fanafe Allah you exist Ya Haq. Because when you see Allah, you say, Ya, you don't exist, you lose your own self. Only you see Ya Haq. And brothers and sisters, there are a lot of individuals in this world, they say, oh, people who are doing idol worship, oh, they will go to Jahannam because, they are worshipping idol. No, brother. You have to go much deeper. If the individual ego I exist, then the separation of I and my Lord is already there. So you're already in a state of shirk. You have to get to the state of your Fanafe Sheikh, where you merge into your Sheikh Muhyiddin. Sheikh Muhyiddin, Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu takes you to Fanafe Rasul, and your qalb becomes the qalb of Ahmad, and then the Meme has to go out. And what happens? What remains is Ahad. You are witnessing Ahad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that time, what happens? La ilaha illallahu, la ilaha, Allah, I don't exist, illallahu, only you exist. That is the true meaning of the kalma. La ilaha, Allah, I don't exist, only you exist. That is when the shirk ceases. There is no shirk at that point. Only he exists. I don't exist. Baba Muhyiddin radiallahu anhu, who came as the 11th form of Muhyiddin, out of the 12 kutubs which will come in this ummah, which was blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that the true Islam can be revived. Baba Muhyiddin came as the 11th kutub. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu was one of the one of them, and Hazrat Maghdum Alauddin Ali Ahmad Sabir Pak was one of them, and there were other 9 kutubs after this, and the one of them, the last who came was Ya Fakir Muhyiddin Mujahidatullahi Numail, which is Baba Muhyiddin, which is the recent manifestation of the 12 kutubs of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's ummah. The 12th one, inshallah, will be Imam Mahdi, inshallah. Again, let's go quickly. Experiencing Allah. Existence combined with consciousness, which is La ilaha illallahu. Consciousness is illallahu and existence is La ilaha. Okay, so La ilaha is the created universe, the check, pen, the chalk, the pen, the planets, the stars, universes, which is all temporary. Illallahu is pure consciousness and pure existence combined in each breath. La ilaha, breathe out. Illallahu, breathe in. This is one of the zikrs which the Sufis follows. They brought in every breath, La ilaha, breathe out, illallahu, breathe in. And witnessing the divine union of Miraj, which is the Miraj of Allah and His Nur, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is the culmination of the of the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So for a person of lower level of iman, he says la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, witnessing through his ears. He just heard the kalima. But the Sufis, they witnessed the miraj of Allah and His Nur, beloved Nur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and their recitation of the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is witnessing the miraj, which is seeing the Nur, and their iman is at a higher level. Okay. Now quickly, who is Allah? He is the one whose kudrat, the kudrat of Allah and the zat of Allah. He creates, sustains and protects the entire universe. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Again, illallahu is pure consciousness, which is the zat of Allah. So your soul is connected to the zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, kul hu Allahu ahad. You say He is one. So again, this is going back to Surah Al-Ikhlas. Kul hu Allahu ahad. Ahad plus meme is Ahmad. We talked about this, which is the qalb of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which went for the Miraj. So if the I-ness, sees the universal consciousness, if the I-ness, which is my own consciousness, sees the universal consciousness of Alif Lam Mim, Alif is Allah, Lam is Muhyiddin, which is the wisdom which I am giving to you right now through the presentation, is all this wisdom is given by Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, the 11th form, which is Baba Muhyiddin. So the wisdom which is coming in, and the seeing the miraj of Alif and Lam, if you feel you are part of the same, you are one with them, then there is no shirk. But if the duality of the mind comes and says Allah is there sitting on the arsh and I am here sitting on the earth, no, you are already in the state of shirk. Okay, and we will cover this thing quickly for those people who are still worshipping Allah through their mind. Allah is on the arsh and I'm sitting here, I'm praying down on the earth. No, that is not prayer, and we will cover that quickly in the few slides for people who have to understand the spiritual world compared to the materialistic world, and I have some few slides in the back, so that people understand the azmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, illallahu, Hazrat Alauddin Ali Ahmad Sabir Pak, he when he was born, he used to do the zikr, la mawjood illallah, la mawjood illallah, la mawjood illallah. Nothing exists but Allah. The pure souls. This was one of the soul which was gifted, as I said, to Fatima radiallahu anha, and the color of the soul was amber. And Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, that was gifted on the right hand side of Fatima, and the color of that soul was green. Okay. Again, this is a slide which talks about qalb al-mu'min baytullah, the qalb of the moment, the true moment, which has got the love for Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Panjatan Pak, and Muhyiddin. It becomes the Baytullah, the Kaaba of Allah. That's the house within your own being where Allah resides, where the prayer is accepted. The 124,000 the prophets, they're all connected to that same place. Even though you feel that you are distant, no, it's not distant. It's the same place where the true prayer is being accepted. Merge into illallahu. The pure consciousness has to merge into the universal consciousness of Alif Lam Mim, that what we talked about. Again, the qalb of Ahmad, who can only see and glorify Allah, because qalb of Ahmad went for Miraj. Worship me as you see me, which is Ihsan. We talked about this. Pure individual existence has to merge with the universal being whose existence is the only truth, which is Ya Haq illallahu. For example, in a small example, just to make it simple for people, there is gold exists. You can make necklace out of gold, you can make a ring out of gold, or you can make a bangle out of gold. Each object, which is the necklace, the ring, and the bangle, they are all unique. But all these things have one thing in common, which is the gold. The essence is the gold. The bangle and the necklace. So the gold appears as a necklace, the gold appears as a ring, the gold appears as a bangle. But actually they're all, what is inside them is gold. So, everything came from illallahu, and you go back there. Meditation, muraqabah, which unfortunately the majority of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam today, the 73 sects that we are in right now, most of them don't even know what is muraqabah is. That is the unfortunate situation. They would say, where is muraqabah? Well, what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did from when he was in Gare Hira? Do you think he was praying salah? There was no salah at that time. He was doing muraqabah. So brothers and sisters, muraqabah is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, meditation is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahabas used to do it. If today you are not doing it, because it is said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith said, end of times will come, true knowledge will be lifted away. But it is the mercy. It is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the kutubs keep coming in this ummah and they revive the true ilm, the true knowledge, the true Islam, Muhyiddin, the reviver of the true deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we still have this alive today in this age of end of times. Okay. Human beings' true nature is revealed when the cessation of the modifications or the manipulations of the mind happens. The mind becomes absolutely calm, like the water with the lake of a still, the lake with the clean water, and we can see the bottom of the lake on a clear day. Similarly, we can witness the combination of pure consciousness and existence, which are both infinite. Hence, the closest experience of Allah and the bliss is the effect of real meditation, where pure consciousness, which is a soul, and pure existence, they combine together. Quickly, I want to give these tips to all of you, because no amount of theory will help. Okay, those brothers and sisters who are trying to do meditation, few tips here. Please go through this; it will help you. Do meditation daily. Whatever zikr you are doing, we have the zikr that we'll talk about this thing. Do meditation daily. Initially, it's going to be difficult. The moment you put your eyes down, you sit on the musalla, the whole world is going to come and attack you. And you're going to say, what am I doing here? And the shaitan is going to come with full force, brothers and sisters, full force, to say, this doesn't work. But do it daily. After some time, what happens? The mind needs repetition. The mind needs habit. Remember that. Mind needs habit. You wake up every day in the morning at a certain time. Why is that? Because there is something within you which is keeping check of time. So you keep on doing meditation daily. What will happen? It will happen. Okay, don't worry that it is not happening to me. No, keep doing it. Go into your own deep self. You have to do breathing exercise. You start with breathing, where you slow your breathing and you concentrate on your breathing. The reason why you concentrate on your breathing initially is because you're taking all the 100 million thoughts and going back to the breathing, which is a involuntary action. Not a voluntary action, it's an involuntary action. Whether you like it or not, the breathing is going to go in and out. If you say, I don't like breathing out, you cannot stop it. It's going to go, otherwise you're going to die. So you go into the involuntary action. When you focus on your breathing, automatically what happens? All the 100,000 thoughts have gone, and now there's only one distraction. What is that? Breathing in and out. So two thoughts, which is breathing in, breathing out, is better than 10,000 thoughts. So that itself has calmed your mind. Okay. So breathing in, breathing out helps. We combine that with the zikr of la ilaha, breathing out, illallahu, breathing in. You allocate the second point. Allocate fixed time. Early morning is the best time. You know why, brothers? Because early morning your mind is free. I know there are a lot of mothers who have so much of work. They're taking care of small children. They have so much of duty. Poor things. They're working in and out. And they may not. The morning may not be a good time. Do it in the evening too. Okay, but fix the time. Third thing, allocate a place, fixed place. Don't sit anywhere and meditate in your house. Always have a place. Whether it's in your bed, doesn't matter, or it's on your chair, doesn't matter, or it's on the musalla. Try to face the Kaaba all the time. All the blessings of the earth, in the earth, whether the plants are getting oxygen and the sunlight, the blessing comes from the Kaaba and gets distributed around the earth. The earth is the Kaaba is the navel of the earth. So face the Kaaba. There is positive energy always coming from the Kaaba. That's the reason Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to face the Kaaba and pray. Then the fourth thing, do not struggle with thought. Very, very important. One of the problems which I find with seekers are, they say the thoughts keep bombarding. How do I take care of it? The more you try to suppress it, brothers and sisters, is very important. The more you try to suppress a thought, oh, why is this thought coming? You actually, what you have done, you have fed more energy into that thought, and then it starts growing. Instead of that, what you do is the moment the thought comes in, which is not, you go back into your zikr. A thought comes in, you tell your mind, don't scold your mind, brothers and sisters. You always tame your mind, like you tame your pets. You have a cat at home, you tame it. You have a 5-year-old son running around, you cannot yell at him. He's going to go and do the same thing. You just tame him. Give him a candy, talk to him nicely, he will listen. Tame your mind and say, you know what, we are doing meditation, let's do it together. And then slowly what happens, the mind will sit down, and then you go back into your breathing in, breathing out. Don't scold the mind. It's going to come back with more energy. That's what happens with people. They're trying to control the mind. No, you can only tame the mind. You cannot control it. Okay. More energy you need, and so again, engage in zikr. And again, the zikr is addictive. It's very addictive. When you get into the zikr, when you've done it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, brothers and sisters, what happens if you've done it for years together, you're sleeping and you get up from the sleep and you feel your heart is doing illallah. And in our case, what I follow Baba Muhyiddin, we say Baba illallahu, Baba la ilaha, Baba illallahu, Baba la ilaha. Because when we say Baba illallahu, we are actually merging with our the kutub first before going to illallahu. We are merging. Fanafe Sheikh is happening at that point. It's a hidden ilm. Again, just giving the thing out, and that's the reason I told you, brothers and sisters, in the initial part of the presentation, that this is not at a Shariat level. Okay. So again, Baba illallahu, Baba la ilaha, Fanafe Sheikh. Baba illallahu going in, Baba la ilaha going out, and this direct the meditation to the holy feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You witness Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam standing in front of you, and your eyes cannot see him. I'm a sinner, I am a sinner. So how could I face and my eyes look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I can only look at his feet. If I can look at his feet, that itself is alhamdulillah, is a great blessing. Okay, meditation to the holy feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next thing, brothers and sisters, avoid bad company, or people who are engaged in the dunya. Definitely, I'm also engaged in the dunya. I go to work, I have to feed a family. But no, those people who only pursuit is, they think the material success is everything. Don't engage with them. You have to go to work. You will find people with all kinds of, background. But that is like, for example, I use that example all the time. I go to work, I do my honest living and everything, but don't over engage. Just do what you need to do. Be good with people. Show respect. You will get respect. Be an honest, hardworking individual. Earn halal income. Halal income does not mean that you are going and working in an office, and somebody who is selling liquor is getting haram income. No, halal income also means that haram also means that if you go to office and you're not doing anything and you're getting a paycheck, that's also haram income, brothers and sisters. Okay, so you make sure you work hard for a living. Ali radiallahu anhu used to carry. Ali radiallahu anhu, he used to do labor jobs. He used to carry load on his shoulders. Umma Fatima radiallahu anha used to carry water containers on her chest. Ali radiallahu anhu used to till farms. He was good in irrigation. He used to till the farm of a Jewish person who used to earn a lot of land in Medina, and that's how he used to earn income. So brothers and sisters, there's no shame in doing what you do. Whatever you do, do it fully. If you are a good doctor, be a good doctor. If you be an excellent doctor. If you're a good engineer, be an excellent engineer. If you're a good taxi driver, be an excellent taxi driver. That's how you become a mu'min. There's no harm in what Allah looks at is how sincere you are in doing what you are doing. Okay, again, the next one, avoid what that attracts the mind. Avoid things that attracts the mind. Number 6, which is praise and criticism. Most of the time people go for where you get praises. Brothers and sisters, for a Sufi, the praise and criticism, they're about the same. It distracts you from the path. Okay, so avoid both if you can. The next one, practice asceticism, which is make sure you leave life for just to exist. Have the you need to have a good house, a shelter, a car or whatever you need based on the society you're living in, but don't go too much. I do need a, the best model of car or the best, no, house. No, whatever is needed to sustain life on the earth, a decent life, go for that. Okay, today's world, again, youngsters of today who are watching this presentation, your cell phones. Oh, I have iPhone 7, iPhone 8 is coming, iPhone 9 will come, and 10 will come. You never find, this is so strange, you never find, Apple or Samsung coming back and saying, oh, you know what, now iPhone 8 is there, I'm going to come with the next model, which is iPhone 7. They will always keep on increasing the model number. It's always 7 goes to 8, 8 goes to 9, because that's how the mind gets curious. Oh my goodness, well, you're going to make the same phone call from that. It's not going to be different. But then, this is how the world catches you. Go away from that. Okay, simplify your life. Don't get caught up in these things. You have a much bigger goal. Allah has sent you on this earth. Okay, this is the fitna of Dajjal, where Dajjal takes you to materialistic existence only. You have a spiritual existence, and we'll quickly cover that in the next few slides. Give me a few more minutes and I'll finish this off. Okay, and so, cut off your cell phones, IMs, treasure your soul and hence your creator, and give quality time in meditation. Next one, go into meditation with complete detachment. Very, very important. Go into meditation with complete detachment. Think about death, because death is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam always used to talk about it. The angel of death comes every day before every prayer, brothers and sisters, and gives salam to you. So if it is right now, Asr time is over, before Maghrib he will give salam. Why? The reason is because say it is the time right now, say it's between Asr and Maghrib. Asr is over and Maghrib is going to come. So before the Asr Azan was given, Malikul Maut has come and gone and said salam to me. Now once the Asr Azan is given, only after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give Israel alayhi salatu wasalam the knowledge of whose soul has to be taken after Asr and before Maghrib. But the duty of the angel is to come and say salam to every human being on this planet Earth before every prayer. So think about it. If it is Maghrib time, before Maghrib, Israel Salatu Islam is going to come and give salam to you. Another thing, the qabr, where you are going to rest. Your body is going to rest. It calls you 20 times in a day. So brothers and sisters, go into meditation with detachment. Okay, when you start thinking about death, if you have the biggest problem in your life, it will seem negligent, or the seriousness of that problem will decrease. Okay, feel yourself eternal. The next point, feel yourself eternal. The soul within you, which is eternal, absolute, and limitless. Don't identify yourself with this body, which is limited, and it will perish. And when you have the intention, of meditation, don't think, I'm going to sit for 5 minutes and meditate. No, have the intention of meditating till eternity. And eternity, and what is the focus of the meditation? To witness the miraj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the focus of your meditation. Okay, and because the witnessing the miraj is the completion of the kalima la ilaha illallahu Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and that is the completion of your iman also. Again, the next point, yearning for Allah, absolute truth, secrets, yearning for the secrets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with intensity, sincerity, and cultivate it. If you have watched this presentation for so long, brothers and sisters, I'm pretty sure you are a soul who wants to go deeper and deeper, and may Allah, bless you with all means for you to go deeper and reach the highest level of Islamic spirituality. Ameen. And next thing, daily life, small intentions, small actions, dedicate to service of Allah, to the fellow creations who share the planet with you. We are all in this journey together, brothers and sisters. Do your duty selflessly, whether it is duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to your family, to your fellow human beings, to the society. Do it selflessly. Do your duty and remove yourself from the equation. This is very beautiful and very important. Do your duty and remove yourself from this equation. When Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anha, when he passed away, his janaza was done, and Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu became the Khalifa. and he was patrolling the streets of Madina Munawara. He found an old woman who was lying in her bed, and she did not have the energy to get up from her bed. And Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, uh, happened to pass by, and this is the training that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave his golden sahabis. He passed by, he went inside, he cooked for the mother, he cleaned the utensils, and he, wiped the floor of the house and everything. And the old mother woke up, and she called, the Khalifa, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, every day in the evening after his work, his prayers, he used to go and clean the mother's house and cook food for her and clean her up. Nobody knew that, brothers and sisters. He's the Amirul Mu'mineen. Nobody knew that. There were families in Medina who, once Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu passed away, they went to Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu and said, we need charity. And Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu asked, how did you sustain so far? They used to say that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, used to give it to them secretly. Nobody knew it. So do your duty and take yourself away from the equation. Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you give charity from the right hand, don't let the left hand know about it. Whatever you do, it's not just charity, service. Do it, don't tell it to anybody. It's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah allows when you don't show off, because one of the 72 branches of shirk is Riya. Riya is show off. Again, the last one and most important, meet spiritually advanced and enlightened souls. Sit at their feet, learn meditation, learn this path, spend time in their company. Few minutes in their company is better than few years of running around the bush. Brothers and sisters, in their company you will feel elevated, you will feel positive. Inshallah. Okay. What happens what are the changes that you notice in your own self? Once you are in this path and you're going deeper, you become aware of the infinite self within your own being, and you relate less to your finite body. Your meditation, silence, and loneliness becomes a major reasons of your existence. That becomes actually your core of your existence. You're going to work, you have a family, you have other responsibilities, but the core of your existence, where you belong most of the time, is your own silence and loneliness. You become more compassionate and merciful to fellow human beings. And we talked about in the presentation of Zabiha, where Baba Muhyiddin radiallahu anhu says, don't become a vegetarian. Don't kill this poor creations of Allah, because the real Zabiha has to be done by a Siddiqeen. And I talked about the Zabiha presentation. If you Google that, in YouTube, you'll get it. It talks about who can do Zabiha and all that. Again, be merciful to the fellow human beings and to fellow animals. Service to humanity, the fourth one, service to humanity, becomes a goal of life. Okay. Become a stranger to the world, not with many lofty material goals in life. It's a temporary phase, 60 to 70 years, 80 years, 90 or 100 the max. You got to leave, go. So become a stranger to the world. Okay. The sixth one, the soul starts mingling with the universal consciousness, the soul of Ahmad, Fanat Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And quickly, this is again quickly. I wanted to put this slide in so that people understand the material universe versus spiritual universe. These are for those people whose only pursuit is material being. And just to give you an example, entire created 18,000 universes is contained between the nukat, or the dot below the ba of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It says, what does that mean? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, compared to the entire Quran of 6,666 verses, is a small ayat. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, compared to the Surah Baqarah, Surah Al Imran, and all the 114 chapters. What it says is the spiritual world compared to the created materialistic world of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the spiritual world? Illallahu. The created world is la ilaha. If the Quran is taken in a whole, the whole is the spiritual world. Okay, the entire Quran as a book is the spiritual world. The entire 18,000 universes put together is equal to, I'm talking about in physical comparison of size, is equal to the dot below the letter Ba of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And we're talking about 18,000 universes. And out of this is one universe. In this universe, there are hundreds and thousands of galaxies, billions of galaxies. In this billions of galaxies, in each galaxy, there is billions of stars. In each of these billions of stars, there's this planet Earth. And in this planet Earth, there are billions of people. And in that billions of people, here I am, the soul is there in this dunya for some time, 60 to 70 years. The universe itself, our universe where we exist, is 14 billion years, brothers and sisters. Okay. The sun is 4 billion years old. The human civilization, Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, is only 200 million years before. And we are here for 60 to 70 years, and we say, I am Akbar. I am the great guy. From where are you the great guy? You come here for a temporary existence, and that's the reason Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, when a person is going to be brought in front, on the day of Qiyamah, and he's going to be asked, how long did you stay in the earth? They will say, maybe the time between Asr and Maghrib. That's it. It's a short time between Asr and Maghrib. So brothers and sisters, so compared to if the spiritual world is the entire Quran, the entire 18,000 universes which Allah has created is equal to the dot below Ba of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And I'll give you another quick rundown of an angel. Allah created an angel, and Allah put in that angel the wish of going around the arsh of Allah. This is again the beauty or the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much He loves you and me to understand. People talk about Ayatul Kursi and they say, oh, Allah is sitting on the arsh. They think, oh, Allah is sitting on the arsh and I am sitting on the earth. So let's talk about that arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just to understand, how deep are these things. So here's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite mercy, so that you and I understand, He created an angel. And He put in the angel a wish. And what is the wish? That as soon as the angel was created, the angel went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, Ya Allah, I want to go around your arsh. I want to do tawaf around your arsh. And it kept on begging to Allah, begging to Allah. Finally Allah said, okay, I'll give you so much of energy, go. Now it goes at the speed of not the light, which is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second, the earthly light speed. It is the speed at which the angels travel. What is the speed of angels travel? Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, and one point is at Sidratul Muntaha, at the next second is at earth. That is not at the speed of the light that you're talking about than the created universe. The angel speed is much higher, billions of times higher than the speed of the light of this earth, or of the created universe. But at that speed of angelic speed, the point is at angelic speed, it traveled 3,000 years, and it gets tired because it's doing a big duty, going around tawaf, doing tawaf of arsh of Allah. It stops and gets tired and goes back to Allah, says, Allah, He's in so much of bliss doing the tawaf. I want more energy. I want to go around again. So Allah gives him more energy. He continues, the angel continues for another 3,000 years, again stops, goes back to Allah, said, Allah, I need more energy. Again, he goes for another 3,000 years. Finally goes 9,000 years at the speed of angelic light. And then goes back to Allah, said, Ya Allah, how much times have I done tawaf around your arsh? Okay, so here's the angel created. First goes for 3,000 years, stops, gets tired, goes for another 3,000 years, stops, gets tired, another 3,000 years, again stops, gets tired. Out of 9,000 years, after 9,000 years of continuous traveling, okay, and again it's not the earthly years. You need to understand, earthly years, no, talking about the heavenly years. And traveling, it comes back to Allah, said, Allah, how many tawaf have I done around your arsh? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him that my arsh is supported by 7 pillars, and you have not even reached the first pillar. And says that if you were to travel without stopping till the day of Qiyamah, you would not reach the first pillar which supports my arsh. And for us, you and I, to know about the arsh of Allah, Allah Ta'ala says, if the entire uh, creation of Allah, the material creation of Allah, is a grain of sand in the desert, brothers and sisters, Allah tells the angel, if the entire creation of Allah put together is a grain of sand in the desert, then the arsh of Allah is the desert. So we are engulfed in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So just to give you a little idea, when we talk about Ayatul Kursi, there is no comparison that you are sitting here and Allah sitting there on the arsh now. Okay, if Allah's arsh is the desert, the entire 18,000 universes put together is a grain of sand in the desert. Okay. Again, Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, a lot of people, the other 72 sects talks about Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came in human form. He is just a human being. In Auzubillah. You say that, you become a kafir. I would say at least you become a munafiq. That is what my iman says. Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came in human form. The Nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came in human form to guide humanity. You and I are in human form to expedite our sins, to ask forgiveness for maghfirat. Okay, to understand the reality of my own soul, and then go back to illallahu. So the existence of Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, existence of Ummah Fatima, of Ali radiallahu anhu, of Hassan Hussain radiallahu anhu, don't compare that with your and my existence. No, they came with specific purpose, and all the 11 kutubs, the 124,000 prophets, they are created from the pure light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are also created from the light of the Nur of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but we have to go through the purification process. They came as guidance. We have come here for expedition of our sins, for clean ourselves and go back. Okay, so Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came in human form just like you and me. No. He came in human form, and he was born as an orphan, so that what is the life of an orphan. When the mother passed away when he was 4 years old, the father passed away when he was not even born. His uncle brought him up. He got married. That human form got married to show us what is marriage. He had children to show us how to be compassionate and merciful to children. He was good to his neighbors to show us how to be good to our neighbors. He was a statesman. He showed us how to be a good statesman. He showed us how to be a good father, how to be a good husband, how to be a good grandfather. He came in human form to teach us every aspect of human life. He came for guidance. So never ever in Auzubillah say he was just a human being. It's the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he let his Nur come in human form. I repeat, it is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he let his Nur, his beloved Habib, come in human form, the Khataman Nabi. Okay, so that you and I can go back to illallahu. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Man, Allah says, man is my secret and I am his secret. He exists within me. We talked about the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says he exists within me, but I exist within him. The entire universes cannot contain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about it. The arsh of Allah is the desert, and the 18,000 created universes is a grain of sand in the desert. The entire universes cannot contain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers and sisters, but the heart of a true lover contains Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He exists within me and I exist within him. Hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I am closer to him than his own juggler to him. Again, meditation. This is again few slides. I just put it in there. One of the slides which when especially in this time of fitna and trials and tribulations, a lot of people face a lot of difficulties in life. One of the ways to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to say La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. This is the dua that Yunus alayhi salatu wasalam made when he was in the stomach of the fish, when the fish swallowed him. And you can go and read about it. This is ayat karima. Allah's rahmat comes, it pours on you when you start reciting, Ya Allah, you are the pure, you are the pak, I am the transgressor. I am, I am the wretched. I am the transgressor. And who said this? Yunus alayhi salatu wasalam said it. I think we better say it also. Again, the meditation of Ayat Karima, my duality, my existence so far apart from Allah, the commanding self, the ego, the great me, La ilaha, there is no Allah, I am great, I am supreme. That is shirk. Hence, forgive me for the time I spend on the earth without realizing the reality of this blessed life. Why I was sent here by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept my journey into illalahu. Now that I have repented, I understand that the faults I have made, the way I looked at myself, the pure consciousness we talked about, the pure existence we talked about, all those things in this presentation. And then you come to the Surah Rahman, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. What all favors of Allah will I deny? My own existence, Allah has made me a human being. He has given me 2 eyes, 2 ears, 5 senses. He has made me the ummat, of blessed ummat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, follower of blessed ummat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What more can I ask? I have to do my self-realization, because my Nabi told me, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. I have to go and complete this journey if I love my Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And few quotes, brothers and sisters, before I finish. People, especially in this life, we are so much, you ask a person, they talk about it. What do you want to do in your life? What should, what are you going to do about life? There's always a question. It's good. But, rather than that, because we are doing too much, the best thing nowadays is take a step back and say what I should not do in my life. It's a time to cut back on what you do and try not to do much, and do what is necessary to sustain life, to have a decent life. Don't do too much. Too many distractions, love for the dunya, fear of death. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hadith, the Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, what will happen to the ummat of ummat? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam will go down. It'll become a stranger. That is what's happened today. It's become a stranger. And said, why? Are the number of Muslims going to be less? He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, no, there'll be so many. Not like you, not the Sahabas. Only 313 on the day of Badr. No, you're going to be plenty. Then the Sahabas were amazed. They said, Ya Rasulullah, so much, and what's the problem? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Hubbud dunya wa karahatul maut. They will have a disease in them. Hubbud dunya wa karahatul maut. They will love the dunya and fear death. And leading to hell, the love of the temporary existence and ignore the eternal. So brothers and sisters, let's start the inward journey and begin the journey of self-realization. Second quote, Sheikh Mujaddal al-Afsani rahmatullah alayh, one of the great sheikhs of the Naqshbandiya tariqat. He said something which was so profound. He said, do not try to become Allah or Rasul. Well, how do you become Allah or Rasul? Now, what does that mean? Whatever I wish should happen. Most of the people have that, I said this, it should happen. The I is there. And what does Sheikh Mujaddal Afsani rahmatullah alayhi says? That whatever I wish should happen, it belongs to wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi aliyul azim, which is the qadr of Allah. It's Allah's dominion. Only whatever Allah wishes will happen. So don't expect that whatever you wish should happen. So he said in a beautiful way, don't become Allah. And then he said, don't become the Rasul. Well, how do I become Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No. Again, go back deeper. These are Sufi sheikhs of the highest level. He said, people should obey and listen to my opinion. Oh, I am the great guy. I told this thing. You better listen to me. No. If you don't listen to obey the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are doing kufr, and you could become a kafir. But that does not hold good for you and me. If I have my opinion, people don't have to listen to me, and you don't go into hell or become a kafir if you don't listen. So Mujaddal Afsani, Sheikh Mujaddal Afsani rahmatullah alayh, he said, don't become Allah, that whatever you wish should happen, and don't become the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that whatever you say, people should listen. Okay? Ameen. The next thing, this is Maulana Rumi. He said, Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. I'm clever, sleek, and I can, handle situations. And today I am wise, so I am changing myself. I mean, and the fourth one is very deep. It says there is a voice that does not use words. Again, brothers and sisters, look at Maulana Rumi talk about this Nabil Ummi. This is where Nabil Ummi. There is a voice that does not have words. Nabil Ummi. It's talking about silence. I mean, again, brothers and sisters, the books Resonance of Allah, Sufi Sheikh Muhammad Rahim Baha Muhyiddin, he has, has around 100 books. Just put two books, the Triple Flame, which is talking about Alif Lam Mim. If you can get, these books and start reading and start following the path. The resting place of my Sheikh Baha Muhyiddin radiallahu anhu in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And again, brothers, soul and universal consciousness. There are other videos which are there on the internet, which is again on YouTube. Ilm Kutubiyat, Fanaf Rasul, Noor Muhammad, Hakikat Muhammadiyah, and Zabiha. And this is the fifth one which is put in there.